Metal Shelf today with the pleasure to receive the singer, DJ and also music journalist Ashe Draven from Norway. Thank you for coming to Metal Shelf, Ashe.
Well, thank you for allowing me to invite you, I guess. Here.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Here's like a rock museum. And so I ask you to pick up 5 albums of your immense collection, as I can see here. I guess it was a little bit hard for you.
It's always hard to try and find, you know, especially when you're trying to narrow it down to just 5 albums. I mean, my top 2, they're usually set. They're always the same. I mean, it could of course happen that something better should come along, but I highly doubt it. But the rest of it, it's always moving, and if you ask me tomorrow, it might not be the same 5 albums. So it's really hard. But I try to do. It's not necessarily my 5 favorite albums of all times, because I don't think I have my 5 favorite albums of all times on vinyl, all of them. But it's more like 5 of the coolest albums, I think, that I have. Yeah.
Interesting. And how you start this collection? That look is like amazing.
Well, I'm an old fart, so I started back in the 80s when I got. I think actually the first vinyl that I got was one or another Kiss vinyl, because I'd already started collecting cassettes and stuff like that, and my dad came home with some Kiss albums, and I don't remember the exact how I got them, but I know that I got like 10 of the first albums or something, all in a span of about 6 months. Like, he came home with a couple of albums here and a couple of albums there, and so I'm not exactly sure.
So we start with your father, actually. So
yeah,
your father is a rock fan as well.
Yeah, he was, because he had some albums that I used to listen to. He was into like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, Slade, and a big Elvis Presley fan. Classic. Status Quo, stuff like that. And my mom was into like Uriah Heep and some T-Rex and like more the glammy side of rock as well. So yeah, so I got a lot of the music interest from them, and especially my dad. So I used to go through his collection, and I think I probably stole some of his old albums as well. I think I have a Nazareth album that used to be his, at least. But the first one that I got for myself was some Kiss albums that I got from him.
And how you developed this passion for Kiss? Because I can see in your house is a Kiss sanctuary, actually.
Oh, it shows. I don't know. It was the first band that I ever bought anything by myself. I was at a friend's place, and I come from Minnesund, which is a small place in Eidsvoll, outside of Oslo, about an hour north. And there wasn't. It wasn't suburban. It was rural. So there were a lot of people with cable and stuff like that. So I had like 1 or 2 friends with like the big antenna that got like all the different channels. And I was at one of my friends' place, and we were watching, I think it was like Sky TV or whatever it was, and they were showing I Love It Loud by Kiss. And that was the first time that I heard him, and the first time that I saw him. And he had a couple of older brothers, and one of them had that cassette with that song on it. And then he had apparently grown tired of them. So I was like, yeah, can I buy it? So I bought it for like 10 kroners.
Wow.
And that was the first cassette that I ever bought, and I still have it. And I loved the way they looked, and I loved the way they sounded and everything. And back then I used to draw a lot. So I loved to just like draw Kiss. It was always cool. So all my school books were filled up with Kiss drawings.
Because it's very majestic.
Yeah. And so it was a bit of both the way they looked and how they sounded. So, I don't know, and it just grew from there.
It's a match.
Yeah, and especially since, like, you know, you're done with the first like school that you go to, and everybody loved Kiss because every cool kid listened to it, and then you go to the next school and you meet people from all different schools, and all of a sudden those that were just liking Kiss because all the cool kids liked it, they were like, nah, fuck it, and then you didn't have anyone to share it with. And so it was like really dormant for a lot of years until I got on a Facebook group called the Kiss Bastards of Norway.
Ah.
And then all of a sudden I have somebody to share it with again.
Nice. So now let's share the albums. For the last, for the 51 to the first one, what you have for us, Ashe?
I'm not quite sure if I put it in an order, but I guess, yeah, I can make up an order. The fifth one is an album that I didn't fall in love with immediately. It took me about a year before I really started listening to it, and then I couldn't put it down. And it's the Blue Record by Baroness. And got it first on CD, and when I fell in love with it, and they released a couple more albums that I really liked, and I had to get everything on vinyl as well. So, and I love the album artwork, which is done by the singer, John Basley, who is also the guy who did the artwork for most of the Kvardetak albums. I think he did everything up until the last one. I don't think he did that one. The one with Igor Nikolaisen as the singer. But he did all the albums before that. And he's also done album work for Kylisa and Black Tusk and a bunch of other bands. Most of them from Georgia, where they're from as well. So I guess that was the fifth one, the Blue Record by Baroness.
By Baroness. Nice. And the fourth one?
Fourth one, I guess would have to be this one. And for some reason I have two versions of it. I think there's a difference on the inner cover, I think. Yeah. And it's And Then Take It to a Place Where Jars Are Kept by the Norwegian stoner rock band Tulsa Doom. They're, I don't know, a mix between Black Sabbath and just more classic groovy rock, I guess. And it's a lot of the same people that are in Black Sabbath and all that stuff. And they also have a bit of a comedic side to it, but it's still a bit more, I don't know, they still have a comedic side to it, but they're a bit more serious than the likes of Black Sabbath. But I mean, they still have song titles as "Why Do You Keep on Watching the Porno After You Came?"
It's a funny name.
Yeah, and they have Papa Doom Preach, because all the guys in the band, since they're called Tulsa Doom, all the guys in the band took artist names ending with Doom. So you have
be more Doom.
Yeah, so you have Papa Doom, and you have, well, one of them actually starts with Doom because it's Doom Perignon, and then you have El Doom and Fast Winston Doom, and Papa Doom Preach. But this is
Doom.
Yeah, in my opinion, this is the best Norwegian album of all time, actually, for me. The first one I got because the singer works at Big Dipper, and I came in to pick up some other vinyls, and I was like, I thought it was one more album that I was supposed to pick up, but I couldn't for the love of remember what it was, and he just like, you sure it wasn't this one? And I was like, no, I don't think so, but god damn it, I'll buy it anyway. And then the other one I got because if you bought a bulk of all their albums on vinyl, you got a signed photo as well that I have out in the hallway. So
Here we have two Sadun and then take you to a place where jars are kept.
All their album titles are long-ass album titles like that. The first one I think is called The Helmet Fits But the Seat... No, the Seat... never mind, something. I don't remember what it was.
And for the third place, what you have, Ashe?
Third place, it's actually Kiss, and it's not my favorite album by Kiss, but it's one of the coolest in my opinion, because it's definitely the most important one, because it's the one that really started it off, and the one that they really sold, and it's the Kiss Alive album.
And they see that you have many versions.
I have 3 versions of that one.
Wow, what's the difference between each one?
This is the normal one, the American one, where you have the lightning S's, which in Germany aren't allowed, because they look like the SS S's. So
yeah,
in Germany...
there's some albums of Kiss that the German version, they could not have this because it's related to Nazism.
All the German releases by Kiss are without those S's. It's with... I should have them right by me probably, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, they're a bit different, but back in 75, sorry. Back in 75 they didn't have those first ones, so they came with a couple of other variations instead.
Wow. This is amazing.
So this one they haven't, because that one at least they tried to make it look like it was the logo that was on the live shot. But on this one they didn't even try. It was like, no, just plaster it on top of it. That's good enough.
Super cool.
So, but it's like, this is after the first 3 albums, and it's sort of like a best of from those 3 albums. And the sound is great, and I remember when I got it, I loved it, because it sounds so much rawer live than it does on the studio albums. So yeah, an important album, and I guess my number 3 here.
Super nice. 3 versions, huh?
3 versions, yeah.
And the second place, what you have?
Second place is
Rock and roll.
Because Kiss is my favorite band of all time, but my second favorite band of all time also has my second favorite album of all time, and it's Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. And of course we have the first album cover version that was, I think it was out in the shelves for about a week, or maybe not even that, before the record stores were like, no, we can't sell this because of the image. They weren't really happy with the robot trying to rape the girl and stuff like that, even though the nice, whatever it is, came to, vengeance. So
looks like a crab, mutant, alien, I don't know.
Yeah, with knives for teeth. Yeah. No, but the best debut album of all time, in my opinion. And there's not one bad song on this one. I just love it, and started listening to it back in '87 when it came out. And I remember it was because they were like a dangerous band. I remember we were doing some stuff back in school where we're allowed to perform, like just miming to songs. But Guns N' Roses were one of the bands that we usually weren't allowed to mime, because the teacher was like, no, their lyrics are so, no, we can't, you as children, you shouldn't be listening to this. And it was, and
was also, Axel was like a kind of a sex idol.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to me, but, but yeah, I guess, yeah, no, but they look cool. And I guess actually Axl Rose was the first ginger person that I wouldn't say that I looked up to him, but that was sort of like, that was cool.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal as well. And yeah, no, I've listened to them since the beginning, and yeah, still my second favorite band. And I actually like all their albums, even Spaghetti Incident and Chinese Democracy. So I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, I see. And also for the second place, you have 2 albums.
Yeah.
Of the same. Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses, a classic here. And from the first, what do you have for the first place?
First place, my favorite album of all time. And it's one of my favorite artists of all time. I guess he would probably be like, well, Kiss, Guns N' Roses, I guess he would be number 3, I guess. And it's Love It to Death by Alice Cooper. And it's the first album that they released on, I have to check now, isn't it Warner Brothers? I think? Yeah, Warner Brothers. Because they released 2 albums on Frank Zappa's label, which were like these sort of weird psychedelic thingies that never really caught on. But then they got signed by Warner Brothers and they released this one, and it's just from start to finish, it's just an amazing album. And it actually took me, because my dad had it on cassette and I stole his cassette. Sorry, Dad. But he had like a re-release where somebody had just bought the license to release the album, but they didn't use the actual album cover, so it just had a picture of Alice Cooper with a snake, and it just said Alice Cooper Star Collection. So nowhere on the cassette it said what the name of the album was. So it probably took me like 10 years, because this was before internet. And actually, when one of the first times I went on internet, I found out what the name of the album actually was, that it was Love It to Death. And then of course I had to track it down, got it on CD, got it on vinyl and everything. And this is the second edition of the vinyl, because if you look here, Alice Cooper in the middle here, holding his cape or frock or whatever it is, he held it so that one of his fingers pointed up, and so a lot of people thought that it was his penis. Mm-hmm. And so for the second edition they edited out his finger that was actually holding his robe or whatever it is, so that it didn't look like he had like a penis sticking out.
Nice, and polemic, Alice Cooper.
Yeah, so this is definitely my favorite album of all time, and it's probably the album that has scared me the most ever as well. Just because we were stupid kids, and there's this one song on here called Black Juju, and it starts off really slow and it builds and it builds and it builds, and that song it freaked us out when we were kids. And also because for some reason every time we listened to the song we were looking out the window, and we were living like, we had the road going beside our house and then a small forest. For some weird reason we always looked out the same window, and every time we listened to that song we saw some red lights in the forest, and we're like, ah! And of course it took us a couple of years, and then I realized, oh yeah, fuck, there's a road going by. It was the brake lights of the cars.
That's right.
Crying out loud. But yeah.
But still, it's very impressive.
Yeah, it's best album of all time in my book.
So Alice Cooper, Love It to Death.
Alice Cooper, Love It to Death.
Nice. And there's any other album that you want to mention from their collection that is not in the list?
Oh, there's so many.
How is going with your music project? You are a singer, right? You have been in Alphatross.
Yeah. And
now you have you told me a little bit before that you have a cover project band.
Yeah.
How about that?
I'm in 2 cover bands. We have a Black Sabbath cover band that we started last year actually, called Black Something Something.
Like something something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, dark something something, like something something dark side, so it's Black Something Something. So yeah, and we play, well, at least so far, well, we've only done 1 gig, but we're probably going to focus mostly on like the Aussie era, like the original Aussie era, and
like the original Sabbath, the first years, the first albums.
We have André, which is the sound guy, one of the sound guys at Rockin'. He's sort of like if Rob can't do the sound at Rockin', then he's usually doing it, and he's also a part of the Brennalt crew. That is one of the like groups that are organizing gigs at Rockin'. He's on bass. Then we have Christian, which is one of my best friends, and who I've played in Alphatross and pretty much all my musical projects. And he's on guitar. And then we have what was supposed to be like special guests for that one show that we did. We have Christian from Tjuder, and well, ex-Tjuder. Now he plays for Razorbacks, and he also used to play for Cumshots and a bunch of other bands. We have him on drums. And with me on shared vocal duties we have Annette from Mother Mortem. So it's the two of us that we're trying to share the songs 50-50. And it was so cool that one gig that we did, so we figured out, okay, we want to do this some more. But then of course it was because we had the gig in October at Rockin', and then all of a sudden you couldn't do anything. Because back then, like from the summer and up until then, at least you could do some small gigs and some but from then on it's been nothing. So
because the pandemic.
Yeah, because of the COVID thing. So we haven't. So we discussed a bit like, okay, what songs do we want to add? Are there anyone that we thought didn't work as well that we maybe want to like withdraw? Blah blah. But that's basically the only thing that we've been able to do so far because. We can't book any gigs because we don't know when we're allowed to rehearse again. And seeing as it's been, well, October, it's been half a year since we played that one gig, we definitely need to rehearse before we can book anything. So it's like, we can't really do anything before things start opening up.
And then we recorded this video in April of 2021, so we still have no clue what it's gonna be like for the future.
No.
Let's hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm thinking something, it'll open up during the year, but, well, as we speak now, the Tons of Rock Festival just got cancelled for this year, got moved to next year, and I can't really see any festivals at all happening this year either. Things might start like opening up, but when it comes to stuff like that, this is sort of like the biggest example ever of you're only as fast as the slowest member of the group, because you can't do anything like, okay, even if Norway is doing well, we still have to wait for everybody else. So there's not going to be anything,
because there's no way to make like an international festival if you don't have the bands that can come from even from Denmark, from
I mean, even from Denmark and Sweden, they would still have to probably go into like some sort of quarantine. So it's like, okay, is it worth it for them to come over, do one gig, and then it's like, yeah, and then we have to do 10 days of quarantine or whatever. So it's, it's not going to happen, I think. Maybe some concerts like Norwegian bands, stuff like that, bigger bands, maybe like during the fall, could be, hopefully. But then again, we're not one of the big bands, so we don't have to wait that long, hopefully.
So this is all, so Black Something Something is one project, and you want to talk about other projects, or it's like kind of...
No, we have, well, it's that one, and then we have one that is a tribute to Joachim Nilsen, which is one of Norway's most famous, sort of like, I guess he was called sort of like a street poet. He was a musician, but his lyrics were so... it was like, they were so real. It came from the heart, and he poured his soul into it, and he was a drug addict, and he didn't hide it, and he was like, all that stuff. He died of a drug overdose in 2001, I think. And yeah, and his lyrics are like, the songs are like, everybody listen to those songs when they're partying, and it's like really like, yeah, let's get drunk, and it's like, but if you actually sit down and listen to the lyrics, it's like, they aren't really party lyrics.
Because actually, I'm not Norwegian, and when I moved to Norway, I remember that a Norwegian friend put it, Joachim Nilsen, and say, this is what Norwegians listen when we're drunk.
Yeah.
And,
but...
And it's exactly what you're saying to me now.
Yeah, but the lyrics are usually like, I wouldn't say that they're a cautionary tale, but they tell a lot of the stories from his hard times. and so it's like it's not really, you know, that upbeat thing that it sounds like, because the music, it tends to be upbeat and it's easy to sing along with and all that stuff. But if you really sit down and listen to the lyrics, it's
more deep.
Yeah, it's really deeper than that. So yeah, no. So we do, because you had two bands, Jokke and Valentinerne, and Jokke med Tourette's, and then you had one solo album. And so we do stuff from all those three areas, and we do it pretty close to the original. We just do it that much harder. So it's that, and then we have like Christian that I mentioned, the guitarist. He's also in the Selskapssjuke, which is the band name for that tribute project. And Christian, as I mentioned, he also plays guitar there, and then him and I have a acoustic thingy called Draven and Lee, where it's just him on acoustic guitar, and then we share the vocal duties. And that's just for fun, actually. Just, you know, to play whenever we are asked to.
Nice. So actually there's a lot of things going on even besides the pandemics. And if someone wants to know about your work, about like to check your writing about metal, or to hire you as DJ, or to check your previous work, how we can do that?
Well, we have, for both the Selskapssjuke and for, I have to think. Yeah, the Selskapssjuke is the only. No, the Selskapssjuke and Draven and Lee. We both have Facebook pages. You just search for the Selskapssjuke or Draven and Lee, and you'll find us on Facebook. And also I guess you could, the old band Alphatross, which is sort of like on a hiatus. They're on there as well, and Alphatross you can also find on Spotify and all that stuff as well. And it's Alpha, not Alba, just so people know that it's Alpha. Yeah, apart from that, well, visit Metal Hammer, metalhammer.no, because unfortunately the magazine is not on paper anymore, it's just digital. So you'd have to go there.
It's sad because I really like to collect magazines.
Yeah, me too. I still collect like classic rock and stuff like that, but out of the Norwegian magazines, because Norway Rock magazine that I used to write for, actually, they just went digital as well. I think their latest number now, I think that was the first one that they released that was only digital. So there's no more in print from them either. So I think the last one that's left is probably Scream. It's the only one left, I think.
So
and of course, when we're back, come visit Rockin'.
But before you finish...
Yeah, I wasn't finished. I'm just saying, come visit Rockin'.
Come visit Rockin'.
Yeah.
But also, because here you have a lot of different collections, I want to ask you what... I know that also is going to be hard. I'm the person of the hard questions, I know that. What is the item that is like you are more proud to have in this collection? Can be, don't need to be a vinyl or a CD, but can be anything.
Proud?
Yeah, music related. That was like, was hard to get it, or even that locker that...
Well, I guess it probably would have to be that the Gene Simmons vault, which is a safe. I'm not sure if I'm proud of it, but it's definitely one of the cooler items that I have, and also it was definitely the most expensive one. And but it was cool because you got, it's 11 CDs with just demos and different variations of songs that has never been released before, from when he started writing songs in like 66 or something like that, and up until 2017, 18, something like that. Like different Kiss songs and stuff that was meant for Kiss but never made it to any albums, stuff that was just ideas, and all those different songs. 11 CDs, over 200 songs at least. And then you have a big book with a lot of unreleased pictures, and you have like a figure of Gene Simmons without makeup actually, and then you have like a gold coin thingy where it says, on one side it says in Latin, "If it's too loud you're too old," and then on the other side it says, "In Gene Simmons we trust." And also you have like a personal gift from Gene Simmons' own collection. So it could be anything. He just put different stuff from his own collection into that like secret compartment. And when you open it up, and what I got a t-shirt and some photos and some backstage passes and yeah, a bunch of stuff. And also you got a meet and greet with Gene Simmons on top of that for 2 people. So like it cost a lot of money.
And how was the meeting with Gene Simmons?
It was cool to meet him, but we did this because he was in Norway and did it with, I think it was like 15 to 20 people who bought it in Norway. But at that time I didn't have the money to do it. And then like half a year or something later we were going on the Kiss cruise, which was from Miami and to one of the Caribbean islands. And he was doing the vault thingy on the boat as well. And so I was like, then I actually did have the money for it. And I was like, oh, shouldn't I? Damn it, we're gonna go for it. And so I did it. But the thing was, there was this one guy who he destroyed it for everybody. Because you could talk to him and it was like everybody that bought the vault was in the same room. And you could like ask him questions. And this one guy asked him a question about, I don't even remember what it was. It was something about like, because Gene Simmons apparently supported like marijuana farm thingy, like for health benefits type thingy, although he's never done it himself, but yeah. And so this guy was, yeah, I see that you supported this. Why don't you support like some chiropractor thingy or whatever the hell it was? And it was like, and then it just kept going on and on and on, and that ate up like, I'd say 60-70% of the time that everybody were supposed to have to ask Gene Simmons questions. And it was just those two going back and forth, and nobody else cared about it at all. It was like, we're like, come on, somebody has to cut this guy off. But no, so it just went on, and so because of that, it would probably have been cooler to do it in Norway, because when he was here, then everybody got like 3, 4, or 5 minutes alone with him. And that would have been so much cooler. And he played some songs on an acoustic guitar, but he didn't do that on the boat. So, but I mean, it was still cool. I mean, he'd been my hero for like, I don't know, 30 years. So it was still awesome to meet him. And got some stuff signed and got a photo taken with him and everything. So it was cool.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing these stories with us, and also to sharing the album. There's anything more that you want to highlight about the music, or for the future, for the bars, or for the Kiss lovers that maybe are watching us right now?
No, I just hope that we all get to go to concerts again soon. Basically, that's it. And as I said, I hope people will come back to rocking again when we open, because it's gonna look a bit different than it did when we closed. And I think it's actually gonna look a lot better. And yeah.
So you visit Oslo, you should go for rocking.
Most definitely.
Yeah. And appreciate a little bit of the DJing of Ashe Draven. That is awesome. And thank you so much. Metal Shelf!
Metal Shelf.